Aloha, it's Keegan, and I'm gonna keep this travel vlog kind of short because I'm all tuckered out, and I'll tell you why. But I made it to Tirana, and I'm beside a beautiful lake, which I'll show you here. There's a beautiful lake here. Well, you probably just see water reflecting light, which is the lovely thing about lakes. One of them. And there's birds and other kinds of life around. I almost didn't come to the lake, but luckily there was a local who was friendly and said, "Oh, you have to turn around if you want to go to the lake," because I was like, "Where's the lake?" and he walked with me all the way here. But I'll tell you my journey so far on my way south and east to Greece from Montenegro. I left my home in Hitchin in Bar and walked all the way across the city of Bar, and then I was, on the southernmost parts of it, I was picked up by a Russian man that gave me a ride just a little ways down the coast to Utieha. And then I walked a lot longer, a lot of walking with my thumb out for like hours. And finally, family picked me up. Actually, one other local man gave me a ride. By that time, I had almost made it to Hitchin, which is, a place where the land kind of flattens out there, almost to the southernmost parts of Montenegro on the coast. And so this local picked me up and gave me a ride into Hitchin. And then I hitchhiked. I stood there for quite a while, had some lovely borek with spinach and cheese, which is, a wonderful, like a sort of think of like a giant cinnamon roll. Anyway, it's a swirl. It's in concentric rings of dough that has filling, and so the filling in this one was spinach and cheese. And so I had that for my dinner, and then I was hitchhiking, and finally another Montenegrin man who is now, he was born there and grew up in Germany, and he had his kids, and they all live in New York now. And it was funny, while I was hitchhiking, standing there in Hitchin, I saw probably 10 license plates that said New York. And so that's a thing. Montenegrin people moving to New York and then coming back with the license plate and they're able to keep it on and register that car with Montenegro and transportation department and keep the New York license plate. So that's funny, interesting thing. And they gave me a ride up into the mountains towards the border with Albania. Well, into the foothills anyway. And then they wanted to stop and get something at a store, so I kept hitchhiking, and somebody else picked me up who's Albanian, from somebody from Shkodra. It's funny because they say Shkodra or they say Shkodra, and it's like a toss-up. You can say either way. And so this guy, who's an Albanian who works in Montenegro as tile, he told me he's a master of tile. And it's funny, we were speaking in Italian. There's a lot of Italian speaking that happens in Albania, and so that's good for me, as I am pretty proficient with Italian. So it's a fun way. I don't understand Albanian or speak it, so but I can, and many people can speak English, but also many people can speak Italian. So that's a fun way for me to communicate. And so I ended up spending the night in Shkodra, and it was a quick sleep. I was up late and then up early, and I took a bus to Tirana, which is where I am now. I had quite the adventure with walking and with the hitchhiking, and I didn't want to do more of that. But then I ended up, walking all around the city, and eventually walking to this park. And right at the edge of this park, there's a beautiful skyscraper. There's lots of interesting architecture in this city, but just by the entrance there's this one that has all these balconies that are built with waves into the concrete. Very, biomimicry, kind of bioarchitecture going on with this beautiful curviness, and lots of plants growing on the balconies. Like the whole building has all got all these plants growing. So it was great. I've seen lots of pictures of these things and some from a distance, but being right next to it was really nice, really beautiful. I was like, this is a great building, and it's a great park, and I'm enjoying it. I ended up having lunch at a place called Mr. Potato, and there I connected with some Chinese tourists that are friendly, and we ended up hanging out for a bit, checking out the pyramid in Tirana, which is downtown. It's like a big cement pyramid-like structure. And then we went together to this bunker art. So there's an old bunker, and it's quite large. There's like 24 rooms in this huge bunker, also in the city center. And that ended up taking a while to go through, and I missed the bus that I meant to take to Greece. So now I'm waiting longer, and the day is getting towards evening, late afternoon, and I've measured out my life in coffee spoons. I know the voice is dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. So how should I presume? This is some poetry from T.S. Eliot, which was my mantra when I was wandering around China, which was my first big solo adventure in this life. And it's been one after another since then. And I was able to kind of root into Montenegro over the last several months, and still the road calls. I'm going to meet my friend who's coming from Turkey, and luckily he's got a car, so we can enjoy driving in style on the way back to Montenegro together. So looking forward to share more updates on the adventure. Looking forward to go to Greece, probably in the middle of the night, most likely here. Let's see how it all turns out. Lots of love and peace.